Today we got Adam Benzev on. Adam, if you want to say a couple words. Adam is going to kind of be, and I are going to be leading this today. Adam is in charge of our REI development for agents, and he also is a very successful REI. He's the one who taught me about the Novations, the leads that I tell you that I've been working with and talking to are from Adam and his company. So Adam has joined our ownership team as well. You want to get to know him very well because he'll be instrumental in helping you guys get leads. Also, if you have any questions about what we're doing, how to make more money, how to protect the investor, he's your guy. So Adam, if you want to say a couple words and then we'll get into the content.
Absolutely. Thank you for the warm introduction. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys on this Thursday. My name is Adam Benzev. I have been in the real estate investing space since 2020 full time. I started just mainly doing wholesale real estate when I first got started. I'm sure you guys are agents, you know what that is, offering cash offers to sellers. Over time, realizing that cash offers was not the only option out there. I wanted to monetize every single lead that I had spent money on to bring into my business. So over time, started moving into doing some fix and flips myself, doing novations, creative finance deals, and using the easy real estate platform to maneuver deals that otherwise would never have otherwise been capitalized on by any other investment strategy to get sellers what they were looking for, to make sure that everyone was winning in the process. So I'm excited to join you guys today to go through some of those strategies. I'm an open book, so ask any questions that you want. And if there's not enough time in the Zoom today, I'll put my contact information in the chat. You can always reach out to me. And yeah, looking forward to being part of the community here.
The REI, the more that I get to know about all the moving plays and how they function, one of the things as I talk to the owners of the REIs that I think you guys need to know. The first thing is from this is from an easy, why would they use easy real estate platform over anybody else's platform or anybody else's thing that we do? To set most of the real estate investors, if you guys don't know, they're spending anywhere from $5 grand a month to probably 100 grand a month. The cost per deal for those leads, when they're spending $20,000, they expect to close 4 deals. That cost per lead to close the deal is $5,000. So it takes a lot of work to pay for the leads. It takes a lot of work to procure the leads. It takes a lot of work to call and work out the system and figure out what's the best for the seller to do. Knowing the pain that they feel, the more that I talk to them, the impression I get is real estate agents are lazy. Real estate agents only care about closing their own deal. They don't care about what the investor goes through. There is not a single company in the world that builds in protection mechanisms to help them. I mean, can you imagine? It's like Zillow. Who spends $20,000 a month on Zillow to get five buyer leads? Does anybody in this group? If you do, stop. But when you think about those poor agents that are doing that and what they're reaping and all the work that they have to go through, the real estate investors are kind of in the same territory. So a lot of them try to not even use a real estate agent. They try to go around and list them themselves, put them on for sale by owners and that. And you know what? It doesn't work. One of the things that we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the different types of things that you can offer your sellers, starting with cash out. And we're going to talk about what are the benefits for the sellers, what are the cons for the sellers. Yeah, and then we're going to move through a distinct process. One of the things that I found out about what we can do because we utilize a buyer's premium is that we can build in some protection mechanisms for these investors. I had a conversation with an investor yesterday. We started talking. He came from another investor that Greg Bilbro had introduced us to. And so we've got Ace Tejada's working on a Novation for him. We'll get into that in just a second, what that is. But they sent over the pictures of the home, and they were distressing to say the least. It was an older gentleman, and there was crap everywhere, mold in the bathroom. Outside the house looked nice, yard looked nice, but the guts and the stuff inside the house were scary. So talking to the investor, I had come up with three different ways that we could help list the property and kind of even partner up with the investor. So after talking to them about the three different offers, so basically as is, they want to list a home for $170,000. It's a novation process. And Ace, after doing his a wonderful CMA, thought, yeah, we could list it at 170 with a 9% buyer's premium, which means one offer would yield $185,000. That would only yield $5,000 to the investors. And then the real estate agents, 2.5, and then the easy platforms getting their 1%. And that was basically making it a mess. Then we offered them another deal. If we pay somebody to go in and clean up the house and professionally clean it, probably to the tune of $1,500, then we could get $185,000 plus the 90% premium. And then the last one, if we wanted to add paint, another $2,500 and paint the entire inside of the house, it would have been $200,000 plus the 9% buyer's premium that Ace feels like he could have sold me. So going through that process with the investor, he started getting so excited saying, I mean, you guys are willing to do that for us? You guys have options for us? And you're going to hear a lot about NCL leads today. That's non-converted leads. So when I told you if he had spent $20,000 on leads and on a closed deal, it was going to cost him $5,000 per lead. Imagine how many of those leads that he had to pass up because he had nothing else to offer them. And so those become the non-converted leads. And my understanding and Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding on the non-converted leads is 90 to 95% of what they pay for.
Easily.
Long story short, Adam has closed 5 deals on her home in a month and a half using our real estate agents. Every single one, the 6th one closing this week, every one of them was considered a non-converted lead. If you guys start talking to some of your REI friends, it's a wonderful way to build a business by using the buyer's premium. So they give us a contract saying, okay, I've got a home and the contracted price is 170 on there. And, and most of the times that we would probably start the offering at, let's say you want to make $20,000. We're going to start it at $190,000. And we're going to add just the real estate buyer's premium. The 6%, 2.5, and 1% DEZ fee, right? Well, if we throw in another 2 or 3%, and let's pretend on a beautiful home, it works every time. But then you get some of these where the investor hasn't really gone and looked at it. Nobody's gone and seen the inside, have seen the real story of the home. They get in there and all of a sudden this home is going to sell for the 190, 180. It's not going to do it. We're going to be lucky to get 170. That's where when we build in that 3% in there for the investor, it becomes a protection mechanism for them. That if we only get 170, like if these guys don't want to put a dime into the house, and they're basically saying that they'll take the 170, and they would be tickled to make the $5,000 profit on it. But that 3% is generally a protection mechanism that nobody in the real estate investment world is offering to these real estate investors. The short conversation I had with this guy, he was so tickled that we actually had a plan to help him close more homes, that we may even consider partnering up. And I mean, I don't mind if they want to split if they're happy with 5,000, they want to split the deal with me. We'll throw in the $1,500 to clean the house. I might even throw another 2,500 in for the paint. All of a sudden, we go from 170 to making $30,000. And these are some of the things that we can help your real estate investors do. But the biggest point that I want you to get with what I'm telling you is we can convert non-converted leads into sales for them and improve their marketing budget. The second thing is the protection mechanism for every one of the investors that I talk to is crazy because nobody gives a rat's behind about these REI investors. And keep in mind, everybody, $5,000 a month for the small guy, and Greg Bilbro with his GeoFlip company had companies spending well over $100,000 a month to get leads, with 90 to 95% of them going in the garbage. And all of a sudden now, because we utilize a buyer's premium, which we're going to get into, I'm going to let Adam explain a lot more in a minute. But I want you to start thinking about how you can help your real estate investors and why. Why do you want to go and attack the real estate investors? Because it is small guy yesterday. If you can do that and you guys help me out, I can throw 10 to 20 homes a month on your website. How'd you like to be the agent listing 20 homes a month, making 2.5% on every home? And that is the absolutely wonderful thing about what we have going on. For those of you who have been on training, this might be a little bit redundant. The HUD that I had showed a couple weeks ago on one of Adam's, it was Adam's Novation that he did. His company made, it was $274,000 home. Adam's company made $22,000 on the Novation itself. Then, because we had a 3% protection mechanism in place for him too, made another $8,200 on that one sale. $30,000 on a $274,000 home on a non-converted lead. So does everybody get the premise? We need to help our REI friends. We have protection mechanisms in there, and we can help them with non-converted leads. You say that to them, you're going to be their hero for life.
If you look at your REI investors as a core customer of yours, their problem is the use of cash, right? So if they can increase the velocity of their cash and end up getting a higher return on their invested capital, you are solving a huge problem for them. By doing everything Robert just said, they're able to convert non-converted leads into leads and make money on them. They're also able to increase the churn or the velocity of their cash. When you get your REI friends to put their listing on the platform, and we know the platform moves the property in half the time and usually at a higher price, you're helping them immensely with that mechanism too. So, I mean, if you're a if you stop thinking about being a real estate agent and being a business consultant to these REI guys and solving problems for them, you're going to get a ton of homes to list. But that's how you talk to them, right?
It always amazes me when we get on the phone with a broker or an agent, we talk about scaling up their business. Because we can all agree that this is a tough business to be in since the end. We're just we're kind of a mess as an industry, right? We can all agree with that. A lot of turmoil. What a perfect time for you to start scaling up your business, making more money, doing things that nobody else is doing. And even better, what do we all love? Making sure that we are giving our fiduciaries the best service that we can make them more money while we're making more money. What could be better in life? And all of us have the chance to do this right now. So we're going to go ahead and hop into and I'm going to run through a couple things because I'm going to let Adam explain each one of these and what the benefit is for the investor, what the benefit is for you, how you make money, and then we'll open it up to questions because I'm sure everybody's going to have questions. All right, so the first thing that we can do is we can offer a cash offer to the buyer. Pros on it is if somebody is in a distress situation, we can come in with cash, and we have companies that are helping us out with this. At one of the topic Thursdays, we'll actually have one of our hard lenders that help us do this on the line and explaining it. But is there anybody that doesn't know what a cash offer is? Okay, so the way cash offers work is the pro on it is that the sellers get cash money out of the way and they're out of the house, they're out of everything that has to do with the home, and we get the investor gets it. What's the pro for the investor? He's getting it on the 70/30 rule. Basically, what that means is they are going to offer the seller 70% of the value minus the repairs it needs. So in other words, if we have to, it's a $100,000 home, we're going to only offer them 70,000. Let's say, and then the home needs $20,000 in repairs, we're going to offer them $50,000. So the con for the seller is that they can make more money utilizing some of the other processes. The cash out is for just desperate sellers. So, Adam, do you have anything you want to throw on that with the
Yeah,
cash offer?
I'll add a couple, I'll add a couple little tidbits into here. If you're, let's say you get a seller on the phone and they call you in and you're talking to them and just feeling them out on the phone. Hey, what's the condition of this house? And trying to figure that out. Is it list ready, right? Is there motivation, right? One thing you want to find out here, the where the cash offer is going to work is if there's motivation behind, needing to give that discount, right? So usually looking at a probate situation, an impending foreclosure, missed mortgage payments, sickness in the family, things of that nature, right? So usually combined with the condition of the house is where you're going to find this type of avenue that would actually work. Now, let's say you're getting there and you don't have a cash buyer that you know of that would purchase a property. What I would suggest is go get those pictures, ship them off to me or Robert, and I will let you know exactly where a cash offer can be, and we can work from that angle over there. And what I always say is, you will get that listing no matter what at the end of the day. But these are deals that you can absolutely capitalize on. You might get one or two of these a year. These homes will not pass an FHA inspection. They're going to be your headache houses, or the seller can't put any money into the house. So that's where these cash offers will come into play.
And Adam, we are paying on the E to B side and then the B to C side as well, right? To the
Correct.
agents.
Correct.
So you guys would double the commission on this as well. So any questions on cash offers? All right. I'm gonna let Adam go over this because Adam is the Novation king. So the next one that we're talking about, the only thing I'll say about Novation from a real estate agent point, I love this point of view because we can offer the seller a little bit more money, but we're kind of partnering up with them, and everybody wins in this scenario. So Adam, I'll let you go ahead and take it over.
Sure. So I would say this was the second strategy I ever employed as a real estate investor. I was frustrated that I was losing deals. Good deals to, to real estate agents at the end of the day, right? And homeowners were frustrated that they couldn't get what they were looking for in that process, right? We were always coming five to $10,000 too short of where a homeowner needed to be. So I did a lot of research. I found a group out of Pennsylvania actually that had started employing this. And this is basically the same strategy as a cash offer, with the exception, right? We go under contract with the seller to purchase their home. Let's say that the home is going to be worth $500,000, right? The house needs $10,000 worth of work to make it worth that price point, right? And the seller is happy to, clear 400,000. This is a strategy in which we would partner with the seller to get them that money. The home will reasonably pass a FHA inspection as it currently stands. And the home needs that boost, right? These are the homes that you would look at typically and say, oh my God, I got to work with this house. This seller's not willing to put a penny or can't put a penny into the house. We can help. We can help them get those minor items adjusted in the house to maximize the end value of the house, get the house sold quickly, and everybody wins in this scenario. You have the agent who's going to get obviously agent gets the listing, the platform wins, right? It goes on the platform, it's sold super fast, right? And the investor is super happy, the sellers are super happy. Bear in mind, this strategy works for houses, I would say, that need under $50,000 worth of work. Not to say it won't be worth it if it needs $100,000 worth of work, but if it needs $100,000 worth of work, it would likely fall into the cash offer. There's not really a lot of room to partner with the seller in that scenario, just due to holding costs, etc.
Okay, so Adam, you want to explain the contract when you guys do the contract to them,
Sure.
and what the real estate agent needs to be aware of?
Sure. So there's going to be two contracts here, right? So the first is going to be a purchase and sales agreement. It's going to outline what the deal is, right? It's going to have the purchase price, it's going to have what the seller is going to net, and any other terms that would be associated with the property. Once a buyer is found, right? So it would go on the platform. We select the bidder, right? You would then sign a novation and indemnification agreement with the seller. The real estate investor will sign that indemnification agreement. That allows the investor to be paid. That also allows the seller to work with the new buyer moving forward. So that's how the real estate investor would capture their fee, and everything will be approved, in terms of the loan, etc., if this paperwork is handled. Additionally, in there on the first contract, usually I'll get the seller to sign a limited power of attorney, so that way we can sign the listing documents on their behalf and keep the process moving.
This is the documents that we're using for Ace Tahada. And we can go back to the purchase sale agreement here. It's $170,000. Buyer, in this case, the investor, agrees to pay all closing costs. And it's kind of a nice, simple contract. Adams is a one-page contract as well, but they all basically say the same thing. And remember, you guys, when we do the novation, you actually get the copy of this contract. The process would be for you to do a CMA and then try to get into the home and take a look on the inside of it. In this case here, we found out after seeing the pictures and getting this contract that Ace did a CMA, and for the home to be perfectly, completely redone, outside, inside, that we could sell it for 258. For it to be minimally done, like say just painting the inside of it, getting rid of the garbage, cleaning it up, yada yada yada. He thought we could get the 200 plus the 9% on there. So the investors, when Greg had set this up, the investors were looking to make $20,000. Well, in this case here, if they don't want to put a dime into the property, it's not going to happen. So we've got to explain to the investors some of the things that we can do to help. So it's like, say, so on this home here, when I talked to the investor, we offered them three options that we already went over. We'll list the home at 170, not do any work. We'll put a 9% buyer's premium. out of that 9% buyer's premium, you'll get the 3%, which would end up being $5,000. And that's the best we can do. Is that what you want to do? And the investor said, yeah, we're not going to put another dime into this house, yada, yada, yada. We want to get it on, get it sold, and just get it taken care of. We'd be tickled with $5,000 because of the shape of the house. And then when I said, well, what if we were to partner up with you and offer those other two that we talked about? And he was like, oh my God, yeah, you guys would do that for us. So, anyways, are there any questions on novations?
So
Yes,
Robert,
Robert, I'm sorry.
no, go for it,
Go
Martin.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to know on the novation, does the property remain in the owner's name
Yes.
Yes.
during the process? Okay, okay.
Yeah, remember the novation. So we got the cash offer. So let's say in this case here, the investor asked me if I were to make a cash offer on that home in Texas, what would I pay for it? And I told him I'd pay $100 to $125,000 for it. It needs because I want when I come in and fix and flip, uh, that I wanted to sell at the 258 that the beautiful home sold for in that neighborhood. So the cash offer on that home that they wanted 170 for would have been 100 to $125,000 if I were to cash it out myself. So then we come in with, and again, this is what the investor did. Then they came in and said, well, yeah, Mr. Seller, you're not desperate for money. And yeah, I'd like you to make more money. I've got this other thing called a novation. Because this seller he's an older gentleman, he's retired. And I'm gonna say he's in his 80s based on what the investor said to me yesterday. But he doesn't have any extra money to put in to get his home clean, to get the mold and painted and yada yada yada. So the investor, or you come in and say, we've got this program available called the Novation, where we're actually going to pay you more money. What we need you to do is keep title of the property, keep the payments up, keep the taxes paid, and instead of offering you 100 to 125,000, in this case, I'll offer you $170,000 for the home. And then I'm going to come in Adam's formula for their company, which is our company now, is he would like to keep things below 10,000 bucks. We're going to come in and invest $10,000 into that. And if we did that, according to Ace, we would probably be at the $220,000 plus the 3% built into the buyer's premium, right? So the seller's making $70,000 more by us offering the Novation. We come in as Novation, we got an agreed price at $170,000. We're going to probably put $5,000 into it with the paint and cleaning it and getting his junk removed, maybe 7,500. So now I've got $177,500 into it. At that point, Ace feels like we can sell it for 220. And so let's just say I put 10,000 and I'm at 100 because my mind. I just made another $45,000 as an investor. So seller of the property made $70,000 just simply by signing a contract, letting us come in and do the work. The Novation offered us, it's giving you guys your full commissions. And the company, the investor just made another, what did we say the investor made? $45,000 on it. So that's the scenario in which you go from a cash to a novation. And that's what happens between you, the seller, and you think the seller's happy with another $70,000 in his pocket?
Oh yeah, yeah. My concern
And it,
is this can a novation happen on a primary residence or is it usually done on a owner's investment or rental properties?
So I would typically say actually this is only perfect for actual properties that a homeowner is either living in or doesn't have a hard money loan on, right? So,
Okay.
because if they have a hard money loan and they're not done over there and they're coming to us to bail them out, that's usually pretty expensive problem that they're going to
Yeah.
have. They're in a bad spot already as it is. We want like a tired landlord or a homeowner who just look at the end of the day, right? And I hope I don't offend anybody here because I'm in a room of agents, right? When they come in, they're coming to me, they're looking for the cash offer, right? The number one thing they say is, I don't want to deal with the showings, I don't want to deal with the agents,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, they don't want to deal with putting money into their house. So I'm basically coming in as the investor. I'm like, listen, I'll handle all that for you, right? Would you be happy with an extra $5,000, $10,000 in this process? Right? They're like, well, I couldn't work with those cash offers. They were too little, right? I need X, 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 and X. And then here, using this strategy, we can do that for them. And the benefit to us as the investor, right, is we don't have to take title to the property. We don't have extreme costs in terms of holding the property, and we save on a set of closing costs and transfer tax as well.
Excellent. Okay, got it. Got it.
Hey,
And,
Adam.
oh, so, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Adam. Sorry.
Hey, the other thing that I want to say is, so what's the benefit for you as well? When I had talked to this investor yesterday and said, look, if you make your, 30, $40,000, and we've got that 3% investment mechanism kicked in there to protect you, but you already made $30,000, are you willing to give that back to the agents? And his answer wasn't yes. His answer was hell yes.
Hey, Adam, Christian Fouts here. I do a lot of investments as myself in addition to being an agent as well. So I have a scenario, and I have not used a novation agreement with before. I'm familiar with it, but I have not used it. And I have a situation now that got referred to me. House is not really in bad condition. It needs a fresh coat of paint. He had a window that was leaking and needs some stucco repair with the window got reinstalled. And that's pretty much it. The house has actually been updated. But for whatever reason, and I haven't found his motivation, he wants to move out of the house. And I don't think he wants to have showings and stuff like that. So he keeps pushing me for a cash sale. So I think the novation agreement is an opportunity. The wrinkle for me is he wants to move out, and his kids, he's got three kids, they've got tons of stuff in the house, not junk like a hoarder, but just kids, teenage kids are teenage kids. So it would show better for me to sell the property if I did give them some money and got them out. Is there a way for me to protect myself? So like you said, I'm going to invest several $1,000s for the painting, call it 10,000 um dollars as an investment. But if I was to say, hey, we need money, we want to move out, they've got about 100,000 of equity in it or so, give or take, of what I can sell it for. They want 223, he owes 123. In the easy platform, I could easily get it bid up into the two highs, into the high twos, 289, 299 range. So my thoughts are, to make the deal work, I've got to put money in his pocket so that he can put down, first, last month's security. He wants to go rent a new house on the other side of town. Um, Normally when I put money up like this, I've done a joint venture and I may file it with the county records. Hey, I'm going to invest 10,000 joint venture, record it in the county clerks. Do you see a problem in giving him 10 or $15,000 to relocate out of the house so I can get in there, have his kids all moved out, do the painting, the exterior, and then market it as, a vacant house?
So yeah, that's an excellent question, and that's a good problem to have. I've done a ton I've done a ton of that, right? Where I'll do an advance against the final proceeds of the property.
Okay.
And that's a great idea in terms of getting it recorded with the county as well. I do that with everybody I give money to upfront.
Hmm.
And usually my title company is able to, handle that aspect of it for me. Um, what I'll say is, I think you have a really good situation there. I would, if he's agreeable to that, and you're able to get high twos, $300,000 for the property, and he only owes two. You said he owed 120.
Yeah, he owes I've got him to he said he would take 223 for the property. He owes about 123,000 for on his primary mortgage. I was trying to do a subject too because his interest rate's only
Cool.
3.1, but the wife wouldn't go for leaving the mortgage in their names and putting into my land trust and stuff. I was trying to do a sub two deal on this.
Got it.
And the wife was just nervous about it. Like I came referred them this guy's brother that he's done work for me, so they trust me. But the wife just was leery about like, well, why do you have to? And I tried explaining it to her, but she was like, well, we'd rather just be done with it and have you sell it and pay. I said, would you be willing to leave the note say hey, then short term, maybe 90 days, right? And I was thinking the Novation, give me some time to get them out and market it and get it sold because she was like, well, how long would the loan stay in our place? I said, I can't give you an exact amount. It might be 2 years, 3 years if if I was going to sell it or hold it as a rental. So she got nervous. Oh no, well, what if we buy another house? So now I was like, okay, maybe they're Novation. Say, hey, I will have you'll get cashed out the remaining balance of your equity, plus your loan will be paid off in 90 days or 100 days.
Sure, sure. So this is, I mean, excellent observation, right? I mean, this would be a scenario where we don't even have to go through all the sub two paperwork, right?
Correct.
What I would first do, also one thing I did not mention is I would go to the title company and run a preliminary title report just to make sure there's nothing else that appears to be outstanding
Okay.
at the same time before investing a dollar in a property. I always
Okay.
want to know, hey, is there a surprise here?
Good point.
But other than that, what the way I would structure it and what I would say, and I don't want to tell another investor what to say, but generally what works for me in this scenario is say, listen, if I have to close on this property and get this thing done, right, my cash offer is going to be $209,000, right? And you're looking for 223. I can get you your 223. I'm gonna need a little bit of more time to get the property done. It's gonna take a little bit longer than 2 weeks, and I need you to be okay with a couple showings here and there. I'm gonna be pre-marketing this property, to get this property sold. If you're cool with that, I can get you that 223. I can advance you whatever, they're going to be looking for to get out of that property against the final proceeds. And,
Got it. Got
and if
it.
they're in a spot, which it sounds like they are, they'll go
No,
for it.
yeah, they're not behind. I don't know what his motivation is because honestly, he's not behind. He's not in arrears or anything on his mortgage. He just and I told him that I gave him the option. I said, "Hey, listen, I gave him like we could sell this, I could fix and flip your house. I'll put 10 and then we'll basically co-profit anything above your strike price. Say your strike price is 223, 230. And then we'll split the profit on that. And he was kind of leery. I'm like, well, it's going to put more money in your pocket. If we sell it for 280, you might make an extra 20 grand. And he was like, no, that's okay, which I found
That's what,
strange.
and what Robert presented before, right? What Robert presented before is I mean, he's saying do partner with the seller, right? I've had sellers who come to me and say, listen, give me like a few $1,000s more on the front end. I don't care about anything on the back end. I just want to wipe my hands and be done with it, right?
Mhm.
Like it's the same, it goes back to, the original question when anyone first gets into real estate or real estate investing, why would somebody do this? Right. And the answer is we don't have no idea. There's always underlying things that are going on in their life. They just don't want to deal with it. They would like to hand this thing to you on a silver platter. They know that you've got to make money while you're doing it, and they're good to go.
Last question. What
Sure.
what if I propose that and then he comes back? It's like, we really don't want showings. We just want to clean the house out and move into their new house across town. That would be
So what
where,
I would
okay, well, what do
what I
you need
would
to move into this house?
Yeah, so what I would tell him, what I would tell him, right, is, you're going to, no matter what, you're going to have a couple people coming through the house, right? As a cash investor, your lender might need to get through there, right? Your contractor might need to get through there. There's going to
Mhm.
be a number of people that would need to get through anyway. Using the platform, right? And this has been key for me on these, right? Using the platform, we have that one-time showing. We'll do it on a Saturday. We'll get all the excitement, everybody out there, and our offers start to trickle in on Saturday, and no one has to come back a second time at that point.
Got it. So do the
I would do
promotion,
it.
get it on the platform, and
Yep.
then really promote it out there, social media, Facebook Marketplace, get it out there, send it to I have other investors, so blast an email out to other investors that I know in the area who are cash buyers and so forth.
Yep, that's exactly how I would handle it.
Okay, good point. And then worst comes to worst, if I don't get it, then I give him some money to move out. And he comes back and says, "Hey, Christian, I need, 15 grand, so I can get in and, secure the house across the way." You know what I'm so that's always a plan B, is if he does want to move out. Because I do want to get the interior painting, like I don't really have to do it. It would be a nicety, but the
Right.
exterior where the stucco was repaired, it looks like
Um,
there was a problem, because the window was reset. So definitely I could do that without disturbing him and his family,
Yep,
is repaint the exterior of the house.
absolutely.
Okay.
All right, hey, all everybody, thanks, Christian. Great stuff. This is the reality of an investor. When we are talking to you about all these things, you realize the most expensive part of being an investor is leads. Do you know what you have available to you between expireds, canceled, for sale by owners? You think you might be able to generate your own leads, maybe even start your own REI business, or maybe you bring it into us and we partner up with you. So for all you guys that are losing your attention right now, all these conversations, this is real world. This is what these guys deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's a great way to make extra money simply by just keeping your eyes open. The old days when my wife and I used to look for our fix and flips, we called it dialing for dollars. We'd go see a home that's got broken glass, or maybe they got boards on windows, the yard's getting long. So we go and do skip tracing and then some other stuff. We find who the owners are. We call them up and, try to buy them out and fix and flip it. So all of these things that we're talking about, we have a hard stop. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stop this training and continue it next week, because we all have a meeting at 11 o'clock that we have to be on. But I want to open this up to questions. But why on earth wouldn't you guys get into your own real estate investment business with us? Go find these deals and let us help. Let's partner up with you on it. Right? And if you understand the pains of being a real estate investor, you understand the pains for the seller. The one thing I always like about Christian, about Adam, these guys that are doing this, it's a simple conversation with the seller. And when you have the heart of wanting to make sure they make the most amount of money, not only do they listen, but you've got yourself a partner.
Yeah, and if anybody, I'd be happy if you want to learn more about Subject 2. I've done a lot of them. I've been a licensed attorney in New York, New Jersey since 94, real estate down in Southwest Florida the last 10 years. And I'll tell you, I've never seen more of a prime market especially in our area. And I can't speak throughout the other country, but we've closed several Subject 2. I've taken control of several and owned several properties that maybe combined, I've spent 70,000, 68,000, and I own 7 properties. And the average interest rates of the mortgages that I took over Subject 2 is about 3.4%. They're all positive cash flowing, on annual rentals, and also I do co-living rentals. It's a great opportunity for you to build your rental portfolio or start building one with hardly any the little money down there. And with my background, I've created with my colleagues, the other attorneys that I've worked with, I've created a whole list of land trust, a whole checklist of everything that you need A to Z, so that you do it right, because it is a little bit more of an advanced strategy.
So I pulled this up, Christian. Thanks for offering to do that. But that's where we're going to start off with next week, the Subject 2 offers.
Okay, excellent. Happy to
And
chime
then
in
we
and
got
help in any way.
wholesaling on top of that. Then we've got the assignment contract, double closing. So we're going to go through all of that stuff in the series on there. So what I want to
Excellent.
ask, does anybody have any questions about the cash versus Novation? And then Christian and Adam, can you guys put your contact information into the chat? Hey, the other thing too, you guys, Christian, are you using our Facebook?
I'm gonna start. I've been swamped the past with all these subject to deals. They're, they take a lot of moving parts to get them. But yeah, no, I'm going to, and with my wife Jamie, she's the social media, so her and I are gonna tag team and start getting getting involved in that.
Yeah, if you guys got to start using the member Facebook group for stuff like this because it actually benefits everybody as a community, right? Remember the motto for the ownership base is that we're trying to take real estate back from the tech companies and put it back into your pocket, but it's not something we can do alone. It's going to take all of us. It's going to be the village and us doing this together. So if you guys would start asking some questions into the Facebook group, and Christian, if you would post even stuff in Facebook about what you do and what you're offering to do. I mean, Quinn Greeley has helped. Quinn's on this call. Quinn's helped agents that were struggling on processes. Quinn's met with many of them. Quinn, did you do that through Facebook?
No, direct.
So, but it just anybody that's willing to, I know a few of you have been looking for some role playing partners. If you get inside the Facebook group and nobody's answering, let one of the owners know so that we can get people more involved. But all of these things that we're bringing into this is to benefit you guys, to benefit the sellers out of there. And we are very lucky to have Christian. Christian's, by the way, is an enterprise seed owner himself. Uh, Adam has been successful in doing this for a lot of years as well. And that it's just wonderful when you can offer your sellers more than just selling their home. Because all these, when you start talking to leads that we provide for the REI people, and you talk to a seller and you've got 10 different ways that you can help them sell their home, and you can sit and explain and have a conversation with them and find out what benefits them the most. Do they need the cash offer and get out of Dodge? Would they want to partner up on a Novation? All these things that we are explaining here are at your fingertips so that you can work with the seller, and then you come back to the investor. This is what I got, and this is where we're headed.
Robert, I think another avenue too that we're working with investors and we're doing a lot. We've converted a lot of our properties is into co-living, where we're renting houses by the room. And I'll share with anybody, Pad Split is one of the bigger platforms. They're Airbnb and Verbo of the co-living midterm rentals. They asked me to be on their podcast, so I'm going to be on the podcast on Monday with Pad Split. So I'll be happy to share our conversation with the group.
I love
Christian, that
Pad
is awesome,
Split.
man. Thank you so
And
much.
I was gonna say RALs too, residential assisted living, and that's usually up to 4 residents per house in most states. Some states have a 3-person limit or it goes up to 5. But you don't have to manage the home health aide. There's still a professional healthcare management team. You're just providing the real estate and making good money for it because they're renting it out to 4 different senior citizens that want a place to live with some assistance, but don't want to move into a fully assisted living care center yet. So I always think of that kind of similar. If you're thinking about Pad Split, give REL some consideration too.
Ah, love this stuff. Love it.
Don't forget we have a Monday mastermind call every week, guys.
Yeah, does that one have a theme song though?
No, but I can make one.
You guys, so Kat, you want to tell everybody where you're posting these?
So all of our replays go on YouTube, so everybody should be subscribed over on YouTube. If you also want to go to our agent hub, which doesn't matter if you're an investor, it's still where we're posting all of our content. You can go directly to archive just for Topic Thursdays or for our Mastermind Mondays, or you can look at all of our training. I'll drop the links in the chat, and if you're watching this on replay, it'll be in the description as well.
Hey, if you guys haven't looked at the website lately, please do. The content that, I mean, I'm blown away every time I go on it and see the new content. It's just phenomenal.
Hey guys, I'm curious. Would you do me a favor and just put in your initials and how many homes you plan on closing this year? I want to see how serious you guys are.
Are you talking about closing for like for other people, just in general sales
Transactions on the platform.
transactions?
Transactions on the platform. That's what I'm looking. I'm looking for a forecast from this group that I can hold you to.
Ace is at 8. Oh, Kenneth
AC,
Collins,
12.
12.
So one a month. Okay.
Come on, everybody.
Well, this year's almost half over though, Paul. That's 2 a
We'll go
month.
for a year from now. Cynthia Delgado, 11. ABZ, 52. Mike
There we go.
Weiland, 10.
Right. Thanks for doing that, you guys. It's good to know. We're here to help you and your
And
clients.
Cavalieri, 8. Frank Macri, 10.
Nice.
So, all right, everybody. Appreciate everybody. We will continue this next Thursday. So it's going to be the same topic.
Could I,
In the meantime, we will be posting the notes. Cal, where are the notes going to be posted? My
They're
slides.
all in the archive. So whether you look in the YouTube description to jump over to the training archive or you go right to the training archive, there's always on the blog post for a given session, it'll say download slide deck and it'll be whatever you put up on the screen. So I'm assuming what's up there now might be updated next week and I'll replace it on both since it's shared. So
All right. Thanks, everybody. Everybody have
Hey,
a
Robert.
blessed week.
one last comment?
Yeah, Frank.
We went through the thing on the novations. I know a little bit about it. There's a lot more to it though than what we just glossed over. And I believe we said that Joy is going to be doing like a full training on it because there's a lot of moving parts in there. Not that it's difficult, but you need to do them all and you need to know it all. So it's not a simple process, really.
Adam, you
so
want
I
to?
think I think this is more of since this is our vendor partner series rather than a strategy and transaction engineering series, this is all about agents understanding why they should be reaching out to a specific vendor here in REI and being able to bridge that gap, build that relationship, build that rapport, and start doing collaborative business together, reciprocal referrals, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think each of those transaction engineering, each of those strategies will end up having its dedicated session as well. And really, again, we could do one on the residential assisted living or pad split stuff. We can do one on subject to. I mean, there's just so much. We could do wraps, sandwich lease options. Like there's just so many different strategies that could get their own. We do a workshop and we have an article related to it, and it's your resource forever.
Yeah, I'll say that, we definitely did not cover the nuts and, beyond just, the basics today. I want to spend some time, with the community and go through, real life examples, go through the paperwork just to make sure that everyone's I's are dotted and T's are crossed and the deals are profitable. So, I'm happy to discuss that, when the time comes.
Yeah, and don't keep in mind too, Frank. We have contracts drawn up. And I know it's not as simple maybe as but it is because all you need to do is be able to talk intelligently to a seller and to an REI guy. And as far as if you want to partner up with us, we would be doing crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Part of it, what you need to be able to do is have a conversation. Why does it benefit the seller to do it this way? And then if you're talking to an REI guy, all the other things come into play too with the non-converted lead and also the protection mechanism that we added in. So, but we will be running a series like everybody says too. But it has not been complicated for me, and I've loved it. And I've talked to 4 or 5 people and converting them into doing this with the just simple contract that I showed you guys. So, anyways, does that make sense, Frank? Or
Yeah, it just that I know that there's a lot more to it, and you just have to make sure you know it all.
yeah, well, that's the way of like the contracts are all done and yada yada yada. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much.
See you
Have a
for
great
part 2
week.
next
I'll see you on
Thursday.
Monday, if not sooner.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for tuning into Easy Real Estate Platform's Topic Thursdays. We hope to see you again next week, and make sure you check out our Facebook groups. The links are in the description.